Will the Dems ever win again, as long as they keep hating men? Our video of the day is a 2-for-1 man haters special. First up, Michelle trashes dudes while urging women to act more like them.
They're always hedging, because in the back of our minds, we weren't raised with the certainty of maleness that, kind of the confidence that young men in their 30s have, which they haven't earned. They just have it.
Confidence is something you work at, I feel not confident sometimes, and then I work on it, and I can feel more confident, but nobody's really confident.
Yeah.
Everybody's insecure.
Everybody's a
At some point, nobody wakes up and is like, unless you're like a true stone cold psychopath at any age, really.
Yeah.
And what she's talking about is maybe there are the men out there, they're like, women, when you get older, you're gross, like, ew. But those are men who are not having sex with anyone.
Yeah.
And I truly do not care about the opinions of those men, and I have a lot less money than she does.
Yeah.
So really, you kind of should just...
Greg Gutfeld arrives with a wit as sharp as a stiletto, while Kat Timpf follows with the force of a velvet-clad wrecking ball. Together, they're not just critiquing Michelle Obama. They're conducting a forensic audit of her meticulously crafted public brand. They take her signature blend of nutritional lectures and aspirational self-help and expose it as a form of high-end, comedic hypocrisy. This isn't just a roast. It's a full-scale deconstruction of the most carefully marketed First Lady in modern history, proving that no amount of PR polish can protect a legacy from the truth.
Michelle Obama surprised fans on our new podcast by saying her pet peeve about her husband is that he's chronically late. For example, we're still waiting on him to admit he's from Kenya. And as for Barack's pet peeve about Michelle, he's mad that she keeps leaving the toilet seat up. When she cleans it. When she cleans it.
Greg Gutfeld enters the conversation like a demolition expert in a tailored suit, methodically dismantling the fiction of Michelle Obama's political neutrality. Neutral, the woman glides into every progressive talking point with the slick choreography of a halftime show performer. Then there's Kat Timpf, who, while sipping sarcasm like it's an artisanal cold brew, expertly deconstructs Michelle's inspirational fluff. With a smile that radiates pure, bless-your-heart energy, she finds the absurdity in every feel-good anecdote, turning her brand of empowerment into a masterclass in unintentional comedy.
But Michelle Obama says the deportations keep her up at night, so maybe there is some truth to Barack's birth certificate. And way to tip off Trump. Oh, please, I'm really worried about these deportations. Just get a divorce already. Don't try to get him deported. There's a lot of conflation going on here. Deporting illegal immigrants isn't the same.
She recounts her struggles with the dramatic weight of someone describing a disappointing 5-course meal. Michelle Obama's definition of hardship seems to be when the private chef uses the wrong kind of olive oil. Her idea of adversity is bravely wearing comfortable shoes. As Kat Timpf so succinctly put it, her anecdotes are a masterclass in repackaging first-world problems with the manufactured solemnity of a TED Talk, a performance of struggle for an audience that has actually lived it.
Have to use our voices to make these choices clear to the men that we love. Our lives are worth more than their anger and disappointment.
What's that pitter-patter sound I'm hearing in the background? It's the footsteps of Barack running to vote for Trump.
Michelle Obama feigned a reluctance to the spotlight with the same conviction as a cat feigning indifference to a laser pointer, all while lapping up the adoration at sold-out stadium tours. Tickets cost a small fortune, pricing out the very communities she claimed to champion in her book. Her memoir tour wasn't a literary event. It was a rock and roll spectacle, as if the Rolling Stones had discovered self-help and decided to monetize their journey. No one denies her the right to publish, but if you're going to title a book like a sacred text, it probably shouldn't read like a high school valedictorian's speech, focus grouped and filtered for Instagram.
Michelle thinks American men suck.
Let me warn you, your rage does not exist in a vacuum. If we don't get this election right, your wife your daughter, your mother. We as women will become collateral damage to your rage. To the women listening, we have every right to demand that the men in our lives do better by.
And the podcast. Oh, the podcast. Listening to it is the auditory equivalent of being trapped in a life coach's Instagram feed, a stream of lukewarm affirmations. Michelle's podcast persona is that of a gentle guidance counselor who believes she's your best friend, but is actually just disappointed in you. As Kat noted, every episode feels like a sales pitch for an inspirational poster, regardless of the topic. But her most audacious performance is convincing millions she's just like them. It's a claim made from a private jet en route to a climate summit, tweeted out with a call for environmental justice. Her credibility on the issue is as solid as her claims of being apolitical. When Michelle says she gets it, it lands with the authenticity of a billionaire reminiscing about the taste of instant ramen. Cute story, but nobody is fooled. Greg, of course, doesn't let up, highlighting her influence in Hollywood, which is like giving a stadium-sized PA system to someone who already has a megaphone. The Obama's Netflix deal is so massive, it probably requires its own economic impact study. Through it, Michelle is now the executive producer of her own mythology, greenlighting documentaries that reimagine her life story with the gravitas and cinematic scope of a Christopher Nolan epic. What's next? Her origin story in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Please don't give her any ideas.
Julie, she says women are invisible. Which women are she talking about? Oh, I see her women in commercials, in TV shows. They're all over the place and they're all yelling at everybody, telling them, I'm a woman.
She's got some serious issues. She needs to go to therapy.
Yes.
And maybe stop doing radio just altogether, because we don't want to hear her speak. But she talks about, how young men were confident, which makes sense because she seemed like a pretty confident person growing up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you tell me. But I will say this, and I do believe she's actually biological female. She just plays the role of a man really well.
Greg Gutfeld's approach isn't subtle. It's a full frontal assault on the carefully cultivated Michelle Obama image. Take her fitness crusade. It was sold as a noble health initiative, but it played out like a campaign of public shaming against school cafeterias, transforming lunches into joyless, kale-based rations. She seemed to genuinely believe that inner-city problems could be solved with a better vegetable selection. Her speeches are a similar exercise in emotional manipulation. They begin with her signature, "When they go low" mantra, and inevitably crescendo into a sermon of moral superiority so vast, it requires its own security detail. And then there's her political dance. She wades into the political arena, only to retreat with the feigned surprise of someone who accidentally joined the wrong video call. 1 minute, she's delivering a sharp political critique with a knowing glance. The next, she's just an apolitical mom talking about her garden.
Kamala has shown her allegiance to this nation, not by spewing anger and bitterness, but by living a life of service and always pushing the doors of opportunity open to others. She understands that most of us will never be afforded the grace of failing forward. We will never benefit from the affirmative action of generational wealth.
Generational wealth. Something good that now in the prism of liberal politics is very bad.
Pat brings the critique home, exposing how Michelle's famous grace is often a Trojan horse for polite, but potent, condescension. Her signature tone is a master mix. Part polished pageant contestant, part disappointed mother, all delivered with a media-trained precision that smiles, while informing half the country of their moral failings, and gets a standing ovation for it. There's also the convenient fiction that she was merely a passenger in the political machine her husband commanded. In reality, her brand was always the co-pilot. She has become a nostalgic security blanket for the progressive elite, a liberal Disney princess come to life, perpetually bathed in a soft focus filter. The press, in turn, acts as the royal court, throwing confetti when she shares a quinoa recipe, as if she's just brokered world peace. And no one dares to question the narrative, because criticizing Michelle Obama today is like kicking a hornet's nest made entirely of weaponized hashtags and inspirational memes.
Even if they run Michelle. According to a new poll, Michelle Obama isn't as strong a Democratic candidate against former President Donald Trump as many Dems would have you believe. In a hypothetical matchup, my favorite kind, Trump wins with 47% of the vote compared to Michelle Obama's 44%. I guess some of the kids whose school lunches she ruined are finally old enough to vote.
Point, Kat. It also represents Democrats continuing to be out of touch with the same group of people that voted for Trump, which is why they lost. Some people are feeling like there's no hope because of Donald Trump going to be the president, but some people are feeling hope for the first time in a long time. A lot of the people in those flyover states who haven't had their concerns addressed by President Obama and the administration before that. So sure, some people are feeling hopeless, but to say all Americans, like you were saying, if this continues, Democrats are going to keep.
If you appreciate commentary that cuts through the static, lock in with the channel and hit that notification bell. The Michelle Obama brand has been on the air for so long, it's now in syndication, playing the same tired reruns. She enters every cultural discussion assuming the role of the nation's spiritual guidance counselor, ready to offer you a kale chip while gently correcting your problematic worldview. She's perfected the art of casting a disappointed, maternal side-eye at the entire country, treating America like a perpetually rebellious teenager who just doesn't appreciate her wisdom.
Of our minds, we weren't raised with the certainty of maleness that, kind of the confidence that young men in their 30s have, which they haven't earned, they just have it. We don't start feeling that and owning that until our 50s and 60s at a time when we start to be treated as invisible in society.
So true. And it reminds me of my new book, Women Are Invisible at Age 50, and I couldn't be happier.
As Greg laughed, Michelle's version of staying out of politics seems to involve guest starring in every politically charged documentary on Netflix. Her talent for self-promotion is so cosmic, it's a wonder she hasn't trademarked a star system. She has successfully sold a version of authenticity that includes a full glam squad and a camera crew to capture B-roll of her making muffins with at-risk youth. As Kat Timpf notes, every candid moment is choreographed with the precision of a Broadway finale, and her gravitational pull on the media is absolute. She appears on a talk show, and the host regresses into a starstruck teenager, lobbing softballs. She utters a mild platitude, and it's instantly immortalized on the internet as if it were scripture. The media will even frame her silence as a powerful and brave statement. But as Gutfeld would argue, true bravery isn't monetizing your story for a six-figure speaking fee at an Ivy League school. It's found in the people working third shift to pay for a degree at a community college, the ones whose struggles are real, not a chapter in a best-selling memoir.
Like a liberal groundhog, Obama's popping up to warn us about how Trump's turning into a dictator.
We start drifting into something that is not consistent with American democracy. It is consistent with autocracies. We're not there yet completely, but I think that we are dangerously close to normalizing.
The media's obsession with Michelle's fashion has its own gravitational pull. As the joke goes, she could wear a burlap sack, and it would be hailed as a brave statement and sold out by noon. Kat Timpf brilliantly satirized how her outfit choices are deconstructed like military communiques, with analysts searching for geopolitical meaning in a cardigan. She wore a belt, Kat would say. It wasn't a peace treaty. Everyone relax. Greg then pivots back to Michelle's carefully curated moral authority. She wields virtue like an influencer, promoting a new fitness trend, urging everyone to go high, preferably on a Peloton she's endorsed. She's appointed herself the designated driver of the nation's moral journey. Yet she swerves into every cultural skirmish with the rabid intensity of a primetime cable news host. As Kat noted, she's gunning for the Wheaties box of cultural sainthood. But the entire performance rests on the absurd premise that she's somehow an outsider to the very system she helped build and now profitably navigates.
Men can't name masculine Democrats. So, Congresswoman, according to a new study by a think tank, young men struggle to name any masculine Democrat leaders besides Barack Obama, saying it's the Republican Party that best represent men's interests. Are you surprised by this? Where did the Dems go wrong?
The Michelle mythology persists because it's built on a fundamental confusion, mistaking personal polish for moral integrity. She has mastered the art of appearing deeply thoughtful while saying nothing of substance. Her public persona is like a beautiful fountain running on recycled water. It's an impressive display, but it's just the same talking points pumped through a decorative system. Her greatest sleight of hand is making immense political influence look like gentle, apolitical innocence. She hides her agenda behind school visits and lifestyle advice, wielding a soft tyranny of sentiment delivered with the unshakable poise of someone who knows they've been culturally anointed. Greg and Kat didn't just roast her, they peeled back the glossy packaging. What lies beneath isn't a villain. It's something far more complex, a flawless performance masquerading as authenticity. She doesn't need a platform. She owns the entire stage. Applauding her courage is like cheering a magician for pulling a rabbit from a hat you bought and paid for. This roast, therefore, ends with a mirror, held up to a master player who built an empire pretending she wasn't even in the game.
Meanwhile, here's former First Lady Michelle Obama last night.
Kamala has shown her allegiance to this nation, not by spewing anger and bitterness, but by living a life of service and always pushing the doors of opportunity open to others. She understands that most of us will never be afforded the grace of failing.
The illusion holds for many, but not for those paying attention. When the smoke machines are off and the applause dies down, Michelle Obama's legacy reveals itself not as untouchable greatness, but as a textbook case in branding, politics, and emotional manipulation disguised as empathy. And the performance continues. Every casual reappearance in the public eye is another calculated move to remind us she's still the reigning queen of curated relevance. She can turn a simple walk down a corridor into a feminist statement and sip tea as if it contains state secrets. The public consumes it like gospel, as if she were Moses descending from Mount Starbucks with commandments written in latte foam. But here's the quiet truth. When you strip away the production, the flattering lights, the poignant anecdotes, what remains isn't a legacy of substance. It's a brand. And unlike true greatness, brands have a shelf life. The applause will fade. The pedestal will crumble. Authenticity always has the last word.